So we learned today that the White House helped the National School Board Association write that letter. And I just can't even imagine that the process just stopped right there, and that's all the more political it got, right?
Right. You got a left-wing organization. Looks like now they had help putting together the letter. The left-wing organization sends a letter to the White House asking Joe Biden to get the FBI involved in local school board matters. 5 days later, as you said in your great monologue, 5 days later, the Attorney General of the United States does just that. In his memo, it says, we're going to open up a dedicated line of communication for threat reporting. As I said in my opening statement, a snitch line on parents. That's what they did. And this follows, of course, what you also pointed out. Joe Biden criticizes the Georgia election law. A few months later, Merrick Garland sues. The Department of Justice sues Georgia. Joe Biden criticizes the Texas pro-life law. 8 days after that, Merrick Garland and the Justice Department sue Texas. And now we have this, which is what happened with the school board situation. And for David Cicilline to say it was the Trump White House that was political in light of what I just went through is just ridiculous. They always accuse us of what they're doing. Right. President Trump didn't do that. These guys are.
It is. It was that line. When I heard that, I was just cracking up. That was a good one from him. At the beginning of the hearing, you actually wanted to show a video of parents at school board meetings. The committee denied it because you didn't provide the video in advance. We're going to show some of it now. Let's go ahead and take a look.
With local school board meetings growing more contentious.
No. Let's go. I'm asking you to walk outside, sir.
Attorney General Merrick Garland last week ordered the FBI to look into what he called a disturbing spike in harassment, intimidation, and threats of violence against school board members and other K-12 educators.
CRT is racist, it is abusive, it discriminates against one's color.
Just coming off of May 31st, marking the 100 years of the Tulsa riots, it is sad that we are even contemplating something like critical race theory, where children will be separated by their skin color and deemed permanently oppressors or oppressed in 2021.
You know, this story to me, that's about 40 seconds of the video. It's about a 2-minute video. Obviously, they don't want you seeing this, but the main point is this. This didn't have to happen this way. If they could have just left people's kids alone, if you didn't screw with their education, this is where you send your kids. You're supposed to be able to trust it. You send them there for like 7 hours a day, 9 months out of the year. It's a big thing. Your taxes pay for it, and all of a sudden it just flips on you, and it becomes this thing it never was. And then parents get pissed off, which I get, and they get probably more heated than they should, and they get angry. And then the school board has the audacity to say, oh, you're bad, you're a terrorist. It's like, why don't you just do what you're supposed to do, and then the problem wouldn't exist in the first place.
Yeah, quit teaching this radical, racist, hate America curriculum, and you don't have a problem.
Exactly.
It's interesting, that disturbing spike, that was the very first sentence of Merrick Garland's memo. The very first sentence talked about the disturbing spike. I asked him today, what evidence did you have that demonstrated this disturbing spike? Guess what his response was? The only evidence he had was the school board's letter to the president. That looks like the White House helped the School Boards Association write. Talk about circular. This is exactly what they did with the Trump-Russia investigation. It's all just made up, and everyone's telling everyone else, and that becomes the basis for an investigation for attacking people's liberties. That's what's going on here, and that's the only. You're the Attorney General of the United States, the chief law enforcement officer in this country, and that's your evidence? That's all you're basing this whole thing on? That is frightening, and that's why Americans actually now, for the first time, I think, fear their government. But the good news is they're going to push back.
Right, and they should. And I tell you what, if this kind of stuff continues, we got to start working on a plan to give parents vouchers. Your tax dollars, if you don't like the school, you should be able to pull those tax dollars out and give them to a private school. Send your kid there. You shouldn't have to pay for this nonsense. If you can indicate that this is happening in your school, you shouldn't have to pay for it. And that's the honest truth. And one last thing, you got a book coming out in November. Do what you said you would do, Fighting for Freedom in the Swamp. Give us a preview on that.
Well, I think your viewers will love to read. It takes them behind the scenes into Congress, how the Freedom Caucus was created, all these key investigations, IRS, Benghazi, impeachment, and of course it talks a lot about President Trump. So you can go to Barnes & Noble, you can go to Amazon and pre-order it now. I really think they're gonna your viewers are gonna enjoy it.
All right, sounds great. Congressman Jim Jordan, enjoyed watching you today. It was quite a performance. You guys had a good time, I'm sure. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate you. There's the book right there.
Take care.
All right, thank you, sir.